Hey, this is Mel with We Can Code It. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a really simple web application using ASP.NET MVC approach to development. The purpose of this isn't just to overcomplicate your life because this can be done much simpler, no doubt. However, I do want to show you the idea of making your own classes. In the models folder, things that aren't dealing with just straight up grabbing data from databases, how you might pull some of the object-oriented concepts that we have talked about and have dealt with in class before from the console app perspective over to MVC. So we will be creating this, and this is a perfectly legitimate excuse to do so. Have a little fun on the web, right? So this is a crystal ball. Got it? Notice what I'm doing. On mouse over, I have a random phrase showing up, and there's some effects going on. I have fade in and fade out because I wanted to show you how you might tweak your look and feel based on that. But overall, we're going to dive in and create a MVC app in Visual Studio. So let me show you how I do that. Okay, I'm going to hop on over to Visual Studio. I have Visual Studio Community Edition installed, and this is 2015. You can get it for free. And I'm going to go to File, New, Project. We're just going to create a new project. I already have this built, but we're going to do it from scratch so you can see it. I'm going to check ASP.NET Web Application here, and that's under Templates Visual C# Web. Okay, so make sure that's checked, and I'm going to call this Crystal Ball App. Cool. Hit Next or OK. So another screen will open. It will ask me which kind of template. Do I want a template? Do I want to use the MVC template? We have been doing this so far. But this time, I'm going to choose an empty one to show you how to do this just straight from scratch without scaffolding or creating of all of these different documents for you that Microsoft can do if you'd like. We're just going to go empty and make sure that MVC is checked down here. Got it? Then hit OK. And here we go. It's going to do its work. Down at the bottom, you see I see a purple bar. Saying creating project Crystal Ball app, and it's doing all sorts of fun things. So you can keep your eye on there if you get bored, and here we go. It's done. Notice, because we chose the MVC pattern, it put in folders for us for models, views, and controllers. All right, let me see some other standard folders in here. I'm going to start off with the model. So this is I'll typically either start off with model or view. I might start playing with a view first or a model first, okay? Typically I do controllers in between the two. But because I'm going to choose models because I already have in my mind what I want to do. All right, I want to create a class that rolls or basically gets a response from the crystal ball. So I'm going to have a class. I'm going to go to right click on models, choose add, and go down to add class. If you don't see it in here, you can go to new item. If you use this approach, go to new item, and we are going to, let's just go to general. Let's see what we have here. Code, and choose class from here. Okay, we're going to name this, let's call this Crystal Ball.cs. Okay, this is our class. We're going to make a class here. And you see this is all set up. Sort of how it used to be set up for you in your console apps. Cool? Okay, it already put this as public. I'm cool with that. And it's called Crystal Ball. Yay. Let's talk about this model, this data that we're going to be providing to eventually to our view through the help of our controller. I want to create, basically I want a random number. So get random number, create an array of strings. This is going to be my data, the array of strings. These are 4 responses. These are going to be the responses from the crystal ball. And then that's pretty much it. There's not much more to it. You just get a create array of strings and a random number, and then join the two, whatever random number it is. So let's start off here. I'm going to start with a method, okay, and then I'll pull it out from there, but this is how I code. So let's create a method, public, and we'll say it returns a string, and it's going to return the one of the responses from the random from the array of strings. Okay, so it's going to return a string, and we're going to call this get response. Sure. Okay, there we go. It's yelling because I don't have. I'm saying return a string, but I don't have a return statement in here yet. We'll get it there. Don't worry, Visual Studio, right? Right. So let's create our string array first. It's a type string array, and it would help if I put an R. String array responses equals. Let's just create it straight in line right here. Let's create like you are loved. What else? It's best to serve soup warm. I like ponies, etc. Okay, we're just going to have 3 right now. Got it? But etc., etc. Create an array of strings here. Now we want a random we're going to first get the object, okay? So this is type random, and let's call it random num equals new random. That's the first step. Let's create the object, okay? Then we can say var num equals random num dot get next dot next. There we go. For some reason I thought it was get next and we can supply it with 2 values, the where you want to start and the max value, which is the length of the string. So in the string length of responses. Okay, so responses dot length. There we go. That's going to return an int. So if you don't want to put var, you can put int here. Either way, it will be converted to an int from the server, but that's all good. Okay. So now we have that, and all we need to do is return responses with the index of num. Got it? So if this grabs, this is going to grab a random num between 0 and basically 0, 1, 2, because it's going to be less than this number. So one of these it will return, and that is going to be returned right here. Got it? Okay. You should know this stuff. So we're going to finesse this a little bit in a second, but let's just make sure it works. Next step, just to make sure it works, let's add a controller now. I'm going to right click on the controllers folder. I'm going to click add, and I'm going to say controller, and let's call this home. Let's call it an empty controller. Hit OK, add, and let's call this home controller. This is going to go on our home page, okay? Home controller. All right, so it's scaffolding. Good. And notice it created a folder called home under views. Yes, that's what we wanted. And it even gave us a method for the index page that just returns the view. That's exactly right. Yet we do not have a file under the views home view That is called index. Let's make that next. Add. I went to right click on the under views. I went to the home folder and I right clicked on it and I'm clicking add, and now I am going to click view. Add a new view. Let's call it index, right? We already have this set up here. Why not? It is empty without model. Fine. Yes, use that standard layout page. Good. Hit add. It's doing its work. And here we go. So now that we have the view, let's just create a simple test for it, okay? I'm going to put a button in here, and it's going to be called Click Me. This is the HTML part of it. And I'm going to also create an HTML script element. Then I'm going to use some jQuery. Uh-oh, do I have jQuery installed? Well, let's go check NuGet. I'm just going to save where I am for a second. We're going to take a quick check. We're going to do a quick check to see if jQuery is in here. And my guess is that, that we need to update it. So because I want to update jQuery and make sure everything's the latest and greatest for my project, I'm going to right-click on my project name, Crystal Ball App, over in the Solution Explorer. And I'm going to go to Manage NuGet Packages. If you don't have Solution Explorer showing here, make sure to go to View and check Solution Explorer right there. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go to just over here. I'm going to type in jQuery. And here it is. And an upgrade is available. So I'm going to go ahead and click Upgrade, and it's going to ask me all the terms. Yep. Good. It's removing, it's adding, it's doing all sorts of fun stuff. It's telling you this, and it's telling you that, yay, it's finished. Cool. So I'm going to close that tab by Xing on it, and I'm just going to verify. Yay, there we go. There's jQuery. I'm going to do the quick and dirty route here and pop this, just drag it from my scripts over straight into my index.cs HTML page. You could also work with bundles. There's all sorts of ways to do this. You can also put it in your shared layout up here. Actually, that's just a better idea since I have it. So under views, this will then put jQuery on every single one of my pages that uses this layout CSHTML template. So under views, shared folder, you'll see a layout CSHTML. Double click that and you see all of these things included already. Let's go ahead and just drag jQuery. This is 2.1.4. This is the latest version. I'm going to drag it down. It's in the head, but underneath the Modernizer script. That's good enough. Okay, notice that Bootstrap is already in here, and something called Modernizer, which we haven't really gone over. If you're interested in it, look it up. All right, jQuery's in there. I'm going to hop over, use this tab. My index.cs.html is still open up here, and I don't need this up here. Okay, so now I'm ready to use jQuery in my script tag, so I'm just going to hop over to jQuery. So we start with a $sign. And I'm going to start by saying, doing the document ready bit just to make sure I am good to go. All right. It's joyous syntax, isn't it? Okay, there we go. This document ready basically is saying, hey, run whatever I put in here after this whole page is loaded, including all the scripts, all the other fun stuff. So you know you have access to your jQuery that included JS file that we just put in using NuGet, okay? Good. So let's do this. Let's select the button element because we only have one on the page. This is fine. And we're going to select click. Okay, button.click. And we are going to then, very similar syntax to what we did before. Button click. I'm going to get that ready and throw a semicolon at the end. And we are simply going to, first step, I'm not going to do anything except just test this part out by alerting, yep, works. Cool. Remember, we're in JavaScript / jQuery land in between the script tags. Now I'm going to F5 this just to test the view, just testing the view to make sure this jQuery works, because that's the way I roll. And here we go. We're opening up our page. It's waiting for localhost. It's doing all sorts of things. It's saying, oh my gosh, you have to make a web server here. And I'm going to go click it. And yep, it works. Good. We know that. Okay, so now that we know this works, let's go back and hook up some of our other code so we can do something a little more interesting than say, yep, that works. So I'm back in Visual Studio, and I'm going to comment out the alert box. And then I'm going to add something here. This is going to be a, this is an AJAX call right here, $.get. That's a GET request AJAX call. And inside that, I put some parameters. The first parameter is the URL we need to get to. So because we're using MVC and C#, and we'd rather just have C# figure out where in the world this method is. It's not really a page, it's just a method that we're going to put in our controller. I'm going to use this at Razor Syntax URL.action method. Okay, and basically this method, you give it a couple of arguments. So the first one is the method name. The second one is the name of the controller it's in. So this is going to go to the home controller.cs. You don't put the word controller in, just put home. Okay, so that's the first argument to this get method. That's a jQuery AJAX method. The second one is a method, a function here that is going to be an anonymous function. It has no name. Okay, and that function is going to be called after this first part is done. After we have gone to this method, gotten what we need to get, that will be placed in whatever variable name we put here. I called mine response. The response to this will be placed in here. So function and then response, and then I have my curly braces. See, this goes there. And then I'm closing my get here. But inside this function, I'm going to change the text of an HTML element that has an ID of reply. I'm going to change that, and I'm going to put the response right in there. So let me do this. Let me create an HTML element with the ID of reply. Good. There we go. Easy peasy. Now let's create this shake ball method in home. You could call it something different. That's a little weird, but you know, whatever. So let's go back to our home controller under the controllers folder. Okay, this is where I am now. Okay, so now we're ready to add a new method. The method name will be shakeball right here. This is our index.cs.html file. I just went over here to take a quick look of what in the world I named this thing. I'm going to go back to my home controller, and I'm going to set up a new method. The new method type is going to return something we may have only been introduced to once before, and this is called JSON result. It's a type, and yeah, a class that's used to send JSON formatted content to the response. Okay, we're going to use this. This is again overkill, but that's okay. That's okay. And we called it shakeball. Cool. That's our name. Okay, method is set up here. Now let's do something. What do we want to do? First thing we want to do is create an object, right? We're going to instantiate an object of type crystal ball. Remember, we made this in the models. We made a model. We made a class called crystal ball. Let's make an object so we can go to and grab the get response method from it. So I'm back in my home controller. I just switched back. Create an object of type crystal ball. All right. So return here is crystal ball. And let's name it You might have to fight a little bit, make sure it doesn't auto-complete to Crystal Ball app there. So it's just type Crystal Ball and let's name it ball equals new Crystal Ball. Nice. Notice that there's red squigglies here. Why? Because we have to import that namespace. Okay, let's use our handy dandy helper here. And yep, let's add using crystalballapp.models. Good. Now this is in here. Good, good, good. And we want to call the method in here. I'm going to switch over to the model again just to see. This model is called getResponse and it returns a string. Okay, I'm back to my home controller and let's create a string variable, string reply, sure, equals ball dot and getResponse. Cool, we don't have to pass anything into it. And that's our string. So again, we just called the method that is in our Crystal Ball class called getResponse. Got it? And that's returning a string. I'm going to go back to our home controller again. Finally, we have to shoot this out to our view. Okay, so, oops, I had this already baked up. We are going to return a JSON object, okay, to the view. This is just how we do it. Just think that right now. Please look it up on your own. I think it would be interesting for you to understand more, but this is a quick tutorial. So we're returning JSON, and JSON takes a couple of arguments. First one is, what in the world are we returning? Well, we're going to return reply, which is a string up here, and then put a comma, and then here's this fun it's just telling JSON and Visual Studio and C# and all this fun stuff that we are going to allow the get. We're going to allow a get on this JSON. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a post. It can be a get. That's all this is for. JSON request behavior dot allow get. Cool? Okay, right here, this should return this to our view. Our view, right? We're going to return it to the view after we called it. Let me go to that view again, and it is index.cshtml. It's here. So this is what we just got. We just got that. Response now contains the string. Okay, we already did this, grabbed the reply element, right? And we are changing the text to whatever is in response. Yes, let's just make sure everything is saved. I'm on the index page, and I'm going to hit F5 to see if it works. So this should grab that and put the response into this paragraph element once I click the button. Okay, here we go. It's starting up IIS. Getting everything running. Here we go. Our file's ready. Let's go ahead and click me. There we go. Let's click it again. Click it again. All right. Cool. Good. Okay. So the bones of our application are done. At this point, let's switch our focus over onto the interface because it's pretty ugly. I want a crystal ball picture on there. I want my text showing up in the center of this crystal ball, and then we're going to add maybe a font, change the font. Then maybe I'll add some effects, some jQuery effects to it, like fade in and fade out. Okay, that's up next.